Hello students, I'm Dr. Manoj Singh, currently heading the Department of Zoology at Kalinga University. Today we'll be understanding about the basics of ecology and how the web of life is actually revolving on our earth. So first of all, we should understand what is ecology. Ecology, as such, the word was given by a German zoologist, Ernest Haeckel, who gave this term by using two Greek words. The first word was okios, which means household, and the logos means the study. So, to study any organism's habitat is actually ecology. Basically, if we speak scientifically, it is nothing. It is interaction between a living organism with its surrounding environment, and it can also incorporate the interaction between individuals to individual, interaction between two population, or interaction between a community, and their interaction with their surrounding environment. So it overall comprises of an ecosystem. Now, ecosystem is a word which was again given by another scientist, A.G. Tansley. And according to him, ecosystem is basically an ecological unit. And again, the word ecosystem is comprising of two things. One is eco means the environment, and the system means the interaction. So, how the environment is interacting with each other. So thus an ecosystem is basically a condition, you can say, where an organism is actually developing in that habitat, and it is continuously interacting with the surrounding environment. Now this surrounding environment is somehow a very complex thing. How it comprises of two important components. One is a biotic component, another one is abiotic component. So we'll understand what is actually meant by biotic and abiotic components separately. Just going into further into the details about these ecosystem components, one important thing which I want to state here is that Epodum, who is also honored as the father of ecology, he gave a very scientific definition or the basic definition of ecosystem as the basic functional unit of an organism and their surrounding environment with which they are interacting with the different components, that is abiotic and biotic components. So now we'll understand what is the meaning of abiotic components and biotic components. So first we'll discuss about the abiotic components. Now abiotic components are basically all the non-living components. So now, what are these non-living components? Like the gases surrounding us, the water which is present around us, the temperature, the atmospheric conditions like temperature, rainfall, humidity, the quality of soil. So these all things comprises of the abiotic factors. Now these abiotic factors affects an organisms in a various ways. Like if you see the organisms which are found in evergreen forest where there is a continuous rainfall, so the plants of those areas are quite different, as they have very broad leaves, they have very huge biomass, they will be bigger in size, and at the same time if you compare those with the areas like desert, where we have a very bare minimum amount of rainfall, the humidity is also very less. So there we generally found these thorny plants. So these factors, these abiotic factors actually influence the habitat, and that have a huge impact on the organisms living in that particular region. So that's why these similarly we can have difference between organisms living in different biomes. Some like for example, if I take if we compare a camel with a horse, so a camel is mostly an animal of a dry place, like you can say desert, while a horse can sustain it used to be found in greener areas. So there the temperature is the difference between temperature is huge. So these all abiotic factors, they play a very crucial role in the development of organisms. So that is why these abiotic factors are also very important. Now, coming to the next important component, the biotic components. Now, the biotic component is comprising of all the living systems. So, living system includes what? Like all the biological things will be considered under biotic components. Now, biotic components, for example, as humans, the animals, the microorganisms which are present in a place, those all will be comprising of the biotic components. So, biotic components are also further divided into two categories. One is autotrophic components, another one is heterotrophic component. So, autotrophic components are, you can say, those organisms which prepare their own food, which can prepare the food themselves, like the producers, or you can say the plants. Plants are actually the basic autotrophic components of our ecosystem, because they prepare food by the process of photosynthesis. So they basically, what they are doing is they are converting the inorganic form, or you can say by utilizing the abiotic components, they are bringing the content into biotic system. So that is why the plants are very important part of our ecosystem, and that's why they are known as autotrophic component, or you can say primary producers. Now, for after them, we have heterotrophic components. Now, heterotrophic components include all the animals, or you can say all the non-green plants, which are actually like your green bacteria, which are dependent on other organisms for their food sources. So they all comprises of heterotrophic components. So heterotrophic components, you can basically say the consumers. Like we are consumers, we are consuming the autotrophic organisms, or you can say we consume the plants which are producers. So consumers also have we all are from like heterotrophic component. We are forming the heterotrophic component, and after us there comes the decomposers, which you can say is the last part of our food chain, where the decomposers, the decomposing microorganisms which which decomposes the dead organism and releases the trapped elemental forms back into the atmosphere or back into the earth. So that's why the decomposers are also very crucial for our ecosystem. So now all these components cumulatively are kept under abiotic factors. So these abiotic factors are further, like you can say, these heterotrophic components are further classified into herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, and scavengers, depending upon their feeding habits. So herbivores, the animals which eat plants; carnivores, which eat flesh, or which is dependent on other organisms, which eat other organisms. So that are called carnivores, or you can say the organisms which are dependent on herbivores. And then after carnivores, there are omnivores, which can eat both, like they can eat plants or they can eat the animals also. And scavengers, as I said, like which eat on the dead decaying matter. Like it's a very good example is vultures. So after that, there is decomposers. Mostly they are microscopic organisms like fungi and bacteria, which decomposes the decaying matter and releases the trapped elemental forms into the atmosphere or into the earth crust. Now, these all environmental factors, if you say what is the significance of all these components, why should we understand these components? Because these all components collectively form a ecosystem, and on the basis of that only any ecosystem is sustaining. So we can say like an ecosystem of a desert, ecosystem of a forest, or a grassland ecosystem, or we can say for very good is aquatic ecosystem, which is comprising, like if you consider oceans. So ocean, which is like covering maximum part of our earth crust, like you can say nearly 70% of the earth crust is being covered by oceans. So that is like, it is an aquatic ecosystem. So these are the like these are the like important thing, significant thing about these ecosystems. They are varying in huge in a very vast domain. So these ecosystem also plays a very important role in energy and nutrient cycling. So that's why it is very crucial to understand these type of ecosystem. And basically, if you say in this ecosystem, the principal steps which are involved, or the principal interactions which is occurring in the ecosystem, is like how we are converting the inorganic form into organic form, and then again that in organic form is being recycled in our earth, and it is coming back to the biotic and abiotic circulation. So that is how that is the most important part, how the energy coming from the sun is being trapped inside the plants, and then that trapped energy is being transferred to animals, then those animals transfer these energy to the microorganisms, and then these microorganisms release those trapped things into atmosphere and our earth. So that is the most important part, and so these are the principles, actually important steps of ecosystems, that the receiving of the energy from the sun, and then the manufacturing of organic and inorganic components, which are then transferred from producers to consumer. So this way, the ecosystem is very crucial for our sustenance. Now, going further into detail about the types of ecosystem, there are broadly three types of ecosystem. First is natural ecosystem. Natural ecosystem is those ecosystem which are naturally present in our earth, on our earth. So like, for example, I'll just state a few names of ecosystem. For example, the first natural ecosystem which you can consider is terrestrial ecosystem. Terrestrial ecosystem will be comprising of forest, grassland, desert ecosystem. At the same time, there is another type of natural ecosystem which is called aquatic ecosystem. Now, aquatic ecosystem also comprises of two types. One is like the freshwater ecosystem, and another one is marine water ecosystem. So marine water ecosystem, like the you can say the organisms or the components of oceans, while the freshwater ecosystem is all those systems which are present in freshwater. Like, for example, our rivers, ponds, lakes, springs, these all are part of our freshwater ecosystem. And this freshwater ecosystem is also been further classified into two parts. One is lotic system, that is the running water system, like rivers, or you can say small canals. And another one is lentic ecosystem. Lentic ecosystem, mostly it comprises of standing water, like ponds, lakes, swamps. These all are part of our lentic ecosystem. So the next type of ecosystem after natural ecosystem is artificial ecosystem. Nowadays, we usually see a lot of areas where man has actually created lot of different type of landscapes, like the urban parks. These all are artificial ecosystem, where we have different type of plants which are being planted by us, and that is creating a particular terrestrial ecosystem. So that actually the artificial ecosystem is produced by the manipulation by the humankind, and it is like mostly done for landscaping purposes. Like we make dams, those are also like sort of artificial ecosystem, where we trap the water for a longer time for our for our requirement. So these type of ecosystems are called artificial ecosystems. And the third one is incomplete ecosystem, that does not contain all four basic components. Like it will be having, it will be lacking some of the other components. Like for example, if you have a like swimming pool in your backyard, So that is sort of an incomplete ecosystem where you are not having any other you will be lacking some of the other component of our ecosystems from biotic or abiotic components. So that is an incomplete ecosystem. So to summarize with today's talk, we understood about the basic concept of ecology. Then we discussed the basic components of ecosystem, that is abiotic and biotic components. And in the last, we discussed different type of ecosystem. Thank you so much.